everyone. Welcome to another graduation call with another graduate from TEFLPros. Once again, my name's Dave, and we are joined here by Ms. Ashley, all right, chiming in today. First off, to get things started, tell us a very interesting story. Where are you currently, and how did you get there?
Thank you for asking. So currently I'm located in South Japan and I've been here since August. I'm lucky to have family that lives here, so I got kind of lucky with that. So I've been in Japan for a little now and I've been doing my TEFL course from Japan. And it's also so nice to be on the other side of the graduation call because I watched a few of these. So it's nice to, pass on the torch.
Well, it's awesome to have you here, and really, really cool that you actually took your course as an American elsewhere. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
You can really take it anywhere in the world. What brought you to the TEFL world?
So I had heard of TEFL like a little bit, like almost like in passing a few years ago. And I heard it in passing and I had a family member who did TEFL for 10 years in China. And he was there for a long time. So I assumed he liked it. And I talked with him a little bit about it. And he was just like, if you're thinking about it, you should do it. And when doing my research online, and even watching some of the interviews with TEFL, I mean, this was when I was already enrolled, but a lot of the same sentiment from people was just do it. And I was like, oh, I mean, that's easy enough. Like, not too much thinking on that front. Sure. And yeah, I've always wanted to be a teacher in general. So I already kind of had that pull. And I thought that teaching English would be a great opportunity to see how I liked the field without kind of committing, an entirety of like 2, 3 years studying in school. And yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this later, but I was one of my main factors with picking TEFL Pros as well was the, I would say like detail to the lesson planning and the job placement. So those are the things I was kind of nervous about with the TEFL world because you're kind of stepping into a new world. But it seems like there's also so many people involved in this world, like even through like Facebook, online, like YouTube, like it's such a big world. So I'm excited to step into it more.
Absolutely. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It is a very, very large market, large ecosystem for a lot
Yeah.
of people using it for a bunch of different reasons, which is, both very cool, but also can be quite confusing. When you started with your TEFL Pros course, how did it hit you? What was the experience like?
Okay, that's a great question. So when I first started TEFL Pros, I definitely had took a second to find my footing, but only because it'd been a while since I had been in school. But once I found my groove, and I really, honestly, this is so funny, but just like following the instructions as they're written out, because I used to write out my lesson plans by hand, and then I saw you could download the lesson plan worksheet, and I was like, oh, that's so much faster. So it was just things like that. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I need to convert my written ones to the notes. But once I got the groove of it and really started like following the lectures more closely, like having the lecture up while reading the notes, information was just it was absorbed so quickly. So I really enjoyed TEFL because one, I love being in school, so I am partial to that. I do love school. And also it also helped me remember like what learning style I work with best and get really familiar with like when teaching others what learning style might work for them. Like it was great to be in this case like the student and the teacher, like we're receiving all this information and I can also think like how would this work for me as a teacher? And has this been effective for me? And for a lot of most of the course it was. So it's really been awesome to see and also get set up for ideas on how to teach others. So I mean, it took me a little bit to find my footing just because I was bouncing work and things like that. But once I was really able to get into the groove, it was really seamless. And yeah, I feel like this is a lot of knowledge I'll be able to take with me for the rest of my life. And actually, I had an interview for a school back in December. I was nervous because I was probably only on module 3 or 4. Like I hadn't finished the course and they asked for a lesson plan. And I was like, okay. Like I was like, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to lesson plan. Like I just went over the writing module, like, or like I think it was module 5. Anyway, and I was able to do a lesson plan and they were very impressed. with my work, and this was all my lesson planning was from TEFL, and at that point I'd only been halfway through the course. So I really felt like what I had been learning at TEFL was so easily applicable, and I did feel like I was a step ahead because they were impressed with, the words I had used and the way I'd structured my lesson plan. So it was just very validating to know that,
Oh, right.
this information was going to help me immediately. Like I wouldn't have to wait to apply it.
I get you. And yeah, those schools, they definitely love the terminology, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, they did. And I made sure to sprinkle some so they knew. Like how that we were on the same path feel. That's the gun.
How to flex a little bit on them, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful though. And like I said, it's great that you got through the course, you graduated. We're very proud
Yes.
of you for that. So those who are, and we do have quite a few people who are asking about the course who might be a little bit hesitant to not just our course, but to jump into the TEFL world itself, like the TEFL ecosystem, because they might hear one thing or another thing, social media, things like that. What would you tell someone who might be a little hesitant about getting into that TEFL world?
Okay, that's a great question. I mean, I'm still getting my foot into TEFL world. I'm a graduate, so I understand like the course, and I do live in a different country, so I have some experience with that. And I would say that when you're thinking about TEFL and you're thinking about entering a new world, you have to be ready for any experience. Life, either, when you're in your home country, is going to offer you something new day to day, and you don't know what to expect. And it's the same thing in a different country. But for me, what's a big appeal with TEFL is you can really be whoever you want to be. Sometimes you can kind of be bogged down by an identity you have where maybe you know everybody, like everyone might see you as one way. When you're in a different country, and especially for me with a language barrier, I'm not fluent in Japanese, I've been practicing, you can really be whoever you want to be. Like, I would say it's actually funny. I'm a little more extroverted in English, but in Japanese, I'm much more shy. I'm trying to power through that, but I'm a little shy when it comes to speaking it. But there's going to be so many experiences that you can only have outside of your home country. And even if you only do TEFL for a year or more, I just always think about the stories you'll have. Like, people will always be curious, oh, what did you do there? Did you like it? And whether it was good or bad, I think it's hard to label things as one or the other because I really think there's always something good to find from a bad situation, and you can even find something negative in a good situation. It all really depends on your perspective, and I mean, this is not to get too like philosophical, but I would say I do think about this a lot, and one of the things that really motivates me is kind of what drives my life. Is it fear or is it something else? So if you're scared to take the opportunity, think about what's the driving force behind your decisions. So everything's scary when you do something for the first time. Riding a bike is scary, but you never know unless you try it. And I think it's better to try something and learn more about yourself. Maybe you're like, oh, okay, that was an interesting experience. I don't know if teaching abroad's for me. Or you could say, oh, okay, I'm getting my footing. Maybe I'll try a different country. It's just, I think it's also being able to take that trust in yourself, knowing that you've got yourself wherever you are. And yeah, I mean, definitely a long-winded answer, but this is something I think about a lot too with TEFL because I obviously get nervous too finishing the course. I was like, am I ready to move to a different country? And I was like, yes. Well, why not? You know?
Yeah,
So,
why not? A wonderful answer. Wind or no wind, it was a great answer. And I think a lot of people can find a lot of relatability in that.
mm,
As I do think in the tougher world, whether you are just getting into it, whether you're kind of out on the outside looking in, whether you're in the course, whether you're out there trying to find your place in you know, the pantheon of English teachers,
yeah,
I think there is a certain, sense of nerve and fear, but if you can embrace it,
yeah.
I think that's kind of where you can find your success. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, all right. So, this is you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next? You just finished your TEFL course. So tell us what lies ahead for you now?
Yes, I'm very optimistic for the future. I'm really excited for the next steps, whatever they may bring. Currently, I'm looking at three places to teach. I'm ideally looking at Taiwan, China, and currently staying in Japan as well. I'm really just excited to visit this side of the world and be a little more than a tourist. So any of those places, I'm always like, that's fine with me. And I've been watching a lot of videos on, expats that are living there, teaching there, and that's where I've gotten like a lot of helpful information on like a day to day. And yeah, hopefully I would be interested in going to Taiwan next, China. I've been interviewing at schools in Japan, which is incredible. Just with like it's not just the TEFL background, but it's I think the specific program as well that's really helped me with like the terminology and knowing what to expect. And even like with classroom management, because I've been asked with some questions, how would you deal with this since like a classroom behavior thing? And I'm like, oh, okay, we dealt with that in this module. I'm like, I know.
Got it.
So yeah, it does feel really good, and I'm excited to see what happens next and really excited to practice the teaching more hands-on. I picked up tutoring kind of with the skill set I developed from TEFL, and it is so fun. Like I was so nervous thinking I was going to be like maybe a bad teacher, but me, anyone like really can second guess themselves because once you're doing it, it's almost like these things. They come up to you and it's almost like I don't know. I don't know, just like trusting yourself more. So I'm trusting myself and I'm really excited for the future to come.
It's like you can't believe it works, right?
Right? Yeah, no.
It's like when you're in science class and the teacher does this wacky experiment, and you're like, there's no way this can actually work. And
Yeah.
mind blown. But no, I have no doubt in my mind you're gonna do wonderful things. I
Thank
said you carry yourself in such a way that I think any classroom would be lucky to have you. No doubt. So, anything else you would like to add? For anyone who might be listening to this, no matter where they are in the world.
That's an exciting prospect. Well, thank you for listening to me so far, anyone in the world. But I also think, just don't second guess yourself with teaching. And it's always better to learn something new about yourself, whether it's good, bad, etc. I mean, personally, I'm of the bias that it's going to be good. I think why not think it's going to be good? If you go into something thinking it's going to be bad, you're kind of looking for the bad there. So I think just take that leap, trust yourself, and you'll always end up learning something new about yourself, which I think is some of the most valuable currency in the world. Knowing more about yourself, man, it's so important. So I would just say try, don't be scared. Or you can be scared. You do it anyway. That's kind of the point I've been getting into more. And yeah, I think it's gonna be worth it. Even like going through the course, you'll be able to gain like so much more confidence and the teacher videos are super helpful. So you can kind of like determine your style of teaching and things like that. It's really exciting. I think it's an opportunity that shouldn't be missed.
Love it, love it, love it. And I know you'll do wonderful things. You're definitely a teacher. I would love in a classroom, without a doubt. So, Miss Ashley, thank you very much for your time, and we're so excited to work with you on your future. And good luck with you with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.